Hello and welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast as we preview Game Week 9 Sun Dream Team. We're still only halfway through Game Week 8, so we've still got European fixtures still to play. But we've got a very special guest joining us or joining us on the pod this evening. We've got Graeme Brooks from Aftv, Tactical Insight Show. Arsenal assets have been pretty popular over the last couple of weeks, and they're probably going to be still. So we thought it'd be a great time to get you back on the pod, Graeme. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, mate, and many thanks for the invite back on again. Enjoyed being part of the pod on my appearance last year, and it's always a privilege to come back on your pod. You do such fantastic content, and good luck in the awards, because I think this work that you do in this platform is really top class. I really enjoy watching it, and it's great to be back on again.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for your vote. I'm sure we got it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
And Ben, how are you, mate?
I'm all right. Not too bad.
Interrupting your squash there.
Yeah, not too bad. Steady week so far. Hoping for a banger in Europe tomorrow.
Yeah, still games to play. Graham's going to the Atletico game at home tomorrow. How do you reckon that one's going to pan out?
Well, I think it's hard to say, isn't it? Atletico are a very defensively strong side. I actually went to Madrid early in the season to see the derby, the Madrid derby, Real me Atletico at the Bernabeu. That was a fantastic atmosphere, a great game, ended 1-1. And although they let in a lot of goals at Anfield, I've noticed they've not been letting in too many goals in the league in recent weeks. So I think it could be a really hard fought match. I think both defences are strong, so I don't think there'll be many goals in it, Scott, to be honest.
Battle of the Dark Arts with Simeone and Arteta. Ben, you used to live out in Spain. Did you ever go
to Atletico?
Yeah.
I never actually went to Atletico. I've been to the Bernabeu. Yeah, never got a chance to go to the Vicente Calderon before they moved to the new ground.
I bet it's a great atmosphere at that one. We say hello to a few people in the chat, and then we'll just quickly hand over to Graeme. Tell us a little bit, or retell us if anyone hasn't heard the story from the last episode of your third place finish. But I'll just say hello to a few people in the chat. We've got Andy Barnett, we've got our mate Dave, we've got Miss Noopy, Joe, the Purple Ferret. Are you a new member here? Or is that a new name? Good evening to the Purple Ferret, Gary Walker, Conk, Joe, Matty. I don't know if I'm repeating these now. Lee Doc, Kev, Roberto, Icars, and Steve Ricks. Oh, Steve's not going to be happy with us. He's not going to be happy with us. I thought of him after our deadline stream. He was asking about bringing in Bentancur for this week, and I'm pretty sure we were like, don't bring in Bentancur. Sorry, Steve. We were thinking of you, mate. But good evening to all of you guys. Right, I'll bring up your team, Graeme, on the screen and drop a like. People help boost this up in the algorithm. But Graeme, take us back to 1990. What was it when?
1999. 1999. I'm an old geezer now, mate.
Get the phone out, make your transfers.
Yeah, back in the day, back in 98, 99, my second season in Sun Dream Team, I actually led the competition for 6 months, and I went into April with a 50-point lead. And in those days, the transfers, you only had 2 sets of transfers during the season, so that was it. So everyone's transfers were done and dusted for the season. So I was leading by 50 points, went into April, and it looked like I was going to win the competition. I had, if you remember, well, you guys are younger than me, but Robbie Fowler, Andy Cole, and Dwight York were my front three. Nobody had those, and they were banging goals for fun. Robbie Fowler scored a hat-trick at Anfield against Everton. There was speculation in the press that week that he was taking coke, and the Everton fans were giving it to him at the start of the game. So when he put a penalty in the net in the 18th minute, his first goal, he went down the line in front of the Everton fans and started sniffing the line. They all rioted in the Anfield Road end. He went on to get a hat-trick. I got the points for the hat-trick, but then he was banned for the rest of the season. Or he got a 6-game ban, which he could have taken it two ways. He decided to not play again that season, and ultimately I lost him. I couldn't replace him, so I played the last 6 games without running 2 strikers, 10 players, and it cost me the 100,000. It was big prize money in those days. It was 100,000 for first place, 50,000 for second, 25,000 for third. So I come third. I still got a good return. I've never come close since. Last year, my best ever finish since then was 338th. So this year I started really well, but I've started to dwindle down the league a bit. I was in the top 2,000 at one stage, but I'm down to about 9,600, something like that now. And that on screen is my current team.
Yeah, you're only a couple of points off of me, I think, so we're about the same. Yeah, talk us through your team. But yeah, love that story.
So my team, like you boys, I went for Roofs at the start of the season. It's proved an inspired signing, and you don't spend a lot of money on a goalkeeper. I thought about moving him on for Henderson, or if I could get to Donnarumma. I don't think I will at the moment, but I did think about that. But he once again, he's come up trumps for me. Another clean sheet, 8 points. Got 1 or 2 difficult fixtures coming up, Chelsea away and Arsenal at home, so that had to be taken into consideration. But Sunderland are looking quite tight for all that. And then what I decided to do at the start of the season, I wanted one Palace defender because they're in the Conference League, and I know that they go strong in the Cups. So I couldn't get to Munoz, so I went to Qua. He's been doing all right for me up to the last 2 weeks, but obviously took a bit of a hammering over the weekend.
Since I bought him.
Yeah. So he was on 3 points at one stage Saturday, but overnight he went down to 1. So disappointed there. And they have got 2 hard fixtures next week, Palace. They do play Arsenal away and Liverpool away. Now, Williams is an interesting one because I didn't start with him, but I moved him in quite early. And then Ange moved in. And thinks then it's gone a bit pear-shaped. But with Ange moving out, I've got a decision to make now with Deitch coming in. But I did think about moving him on. I can remember you had George of GB Fantasy Football on your channel, and he made a brilliant tweak, moving Williams to Anderson. I did consider Anderson, but I went with other tweaks that week and left Williams in. And I keep thinking, well, he does get bonus. He does sort of like tick along for his price, but last few weeks he hasn't been doing that. So I just want to see now how he goes under Deitch, I suppose. But it is a weakness in my team at the moment. I've always had one Arsenal defender. This week I bought Timber in, actually, so I doubled up on Arsenal defence. I do think you need Arsenal defenders, and I know you've got some questions tonight around the Arsenal defence. There's a guy at the top of my league, or at the top of my league in my work league. He's got 3 Arsenal defenders. So he's got Timber, Gabriel, and Calafiori. So I bought Timber in. There's a bit of a story there. I took out Foden because he'd been underperforming for 3 or 4 weeks. I know we had this chat, me and you said you hate hopping from one player to the other. But I can remember a couple of years ago, I left Rashford in for too long when he was absolutely underperforming. It cost me in the league that year. And I left Fernandes in a long time when he wasn't performing. And I've left Salah in a long time when he hasn't been performing.
I think Ben made those same 2, didn't you, Rashford and Bruno? And you end up losing the value as well.
Yeah.
So I've got me 2 Arsenal defence. So obviously it was behind the back of a sofa towards the last 10 minutes of that game when I wanted the clean sheet, and 10 minutes went up stoppage time. But Arsenal didn't face a shot on target in that game, and the defence have only conceded 3 goals in 11 games. So I think Arsenal defenders are, very important in this game at the moment. So, and with the fixtures they've got coming up. So I've got good points out of them. 8 for Timber, 7 for Calafiori. Obviously, I'll go to Kudos and Gordon. I bought in Gordon straight after his 23-point haul, admittedly, and he's blanked for me in 2 successive weeks. But I think he's a long-term hold for me, simply because he's nailed to play, and they've got 2 home fixtures next week. I like Kudos. He's on PPM monster, isn't he? And even when he's not getting attacking returns, he's getting points from lots of different ways. So I think he's a long-term hold for me, even though he's a Spurs player. I wanted to bring in Enzo this week as my second change. I had Doku and Foden. I was a bit worried about Mamouche and Cherky coming back and the possible rotation. So all week I was on Enzo. Then he had the injury situation. So I was watching all week the press conferences. When I found out that he hadn't trained, I thought, well, I can't go with him because I really wanted him, because with Palmer out, he's playing higher up in that number 10 position. He's on penalties. So, and then they said Caicedo had trained. So I thought, well, he's going to play then. I thought about Cucurella. I did seriously consider Cucurella, but I went with Caicedo, and it was a complete disaster. Of course, I put the team sheet up Saturday morning, and he was on the bench. And he came on and he strolled around, so he clearly wasn't fit. So I think he'll get the second game this week against Ajax. I do think Enzo is unlikely to play from what I've read. And, owners of Enzo or people thinking of bringing Enzo in would have to wait for that press conference on Friday, I think, to see where he's fit for the weekend. I don't think he's going to play Wednesday, Enzo. Could prove me wrong because he always plays, but I don't think he will. And then up front, obviously, the main man, Erling Haaland, he had the armband for me most weeks, like he has for most people. Best player in the game, best striker by miles. And once again, a good return. He could have had a lot more, actually. Got 2 goals, could have had 3 or 4. And then a couple of weeks ago, I went with a gamble on Voltemade, which has worked for me, really. He's returned in both weeks I've had him, 2 goals. And I think in a league where there's very few strikers performing apart from Haaland, he is the best of them at the moment in terms of returns. So he scored something like 3 or 4 goals in 4 or 5 games, something like that. So, and then of course I hung on to Salah. Had I had my 12th man, I would have taken Salah out. I'd used it early in the season, as we talked about before the show tonight. And he's been underwhelming for a long time, and I think he's been affected by the changes at Liverpool and the loss of Trent. And I thought, well, I don't want to risk it now because the games this week are Man United at home and Frankfurt. Frankfurt have been conceding goals for fun, so he still might get something in that second game. That they conceded something like 14 goals in 4 games. So if he's not going to score against Frankfurt, he's never going to score, is he? And as we said, he might have had a return on Sunday. He did play 2 lovely passes to Gakpo at the post. So only a few points for him. An average week, I think. Obviously saved by Haaland on the armband and the Arsenal double clean sheet, but still only halfway through the week. So, yeah, 82 points, I think, there. And I think I'm 762, is that? Just looking at it.
Yeah, 762.
Yeah, 762, yeah. So
I think that's the right start.
Slightly disappointed. But, I think Saka is the one I've got to get into my team. He'll be coming in this week. But overall, I'm about 9,000. It could be, but I'm dropping, but I need to start, I think, climbing the league again.
Is that likely a Salah to Saka move, do you think? You need the budget somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could have done it last week because I think Salah's now 6.8, isn't he? And Saka's 6.3. So I'm only got 0.5 I'm gaining out of it. But yeah, it will give me 0.5 plus what I've got in the bank. And then on the second change, I'm undecided at the moment on that. I'll wait and see what happens during the week. But I do feel Salah's time in my team, even if he hauls in the Frankfurt game, I think Salah's time in my team is up, and Saka will be coming in for Salah.
Are either of you worried that Salah doesn't play the second game now, or do you think he'll still start?
Against Frankfurt? Well, I did hear Jamie Carragher say yesterday on Sky Sports that he thought Salah is starting to look droppable. Whether Slot does that or not, I don't know. I don't think Slot truly understands what his best team is. They spent all that money up front, and I don't think he truly knows what his best team is. I think Salah's form has been poor, but he is like their main man. So it'd be a big call to drop him. He did rest him when they played away in Galatasaray, and they played Frimpong on the right-hand side. But I think he gets tomorrow, or Wednesday, is it they play? So I think he gets the second game. And I do think that, with his form and the 2 games they've got next week, there is a possibility he might play both games next week. I do think that's a possibility. So in taking him out, I'll be doing that thinking, well, he could get both games next week. But I just think his form's so poor. I mean, he was shanking shots past the post that he was putting in the net last year. And I just think he just hasn't looked the same player this year, has he? And when you've got that sort of money invested in him, he's 7.5 when he started off. He's been falling rapidly. And he could fall again this week if he doesn't do something against Frankfurt. If he's rested against Frankfurt and say he comes off the bench or something like that, he only ends up with 5 or 6 points, he's going to drop again, isn't he? So I don't think you can have a player like that value continually dropping in your team. So for me, I think
that's what I was worried about
my,
for the value thing for 12th man and then Ben. You've 12th manned him as well this week. 82 points for you.
Yeah, I was just laughing at Graeme because the same play. It sounds like he brought Gordon in and Lacroix in the same week as me because they've both been pants since I brought them in.
You're the curse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted Salah for this double game week, but the value of him was going down, and I just didn't want to, like Graeme was saying there, hold on for too long and he keep going down, and then you can't afford the better player. So Saka was one I was targeting. So brought him in for Salah, and I got rid of Watkins for Timber. So quite good switching value. My team was all going down really badly this week. Lacroix went down 0.3. I think Romero went down. Who else? Doku went down quite badly. Gordon. So it really hurt my value this week, but I'm still happy with them for the weeks coming up. But obviously, I'm getting to that point now where I'm getting a bit worried where players are keep dropping massively. Then if I leave it, my team value is just going to go plummet, and I won't be able to get any of the top boys in. So I don't know what I'm going to do this week, but I'm going to just assess how it goes in Europe first, because obviously I've got Roofs there. He's got 8 points, a clean sheet, but he's got Chelsea next week in a single. So do I keep him?
You get the rise.
Yeah, but I can't see him getting a clean sheet against Chelsea. But goalkeepers get rotated in the Carabao Cup, don't they, anyway? So probably could hold him another week. But then he's got Everton. He's got Everton a week after that at home. So
he's one of them. Arsenal. Never get rid of him.
Yeah, I was looking at it. He's got Everton. So then you think, oh, keep him for that. He will have a clean sheet. But then he'll play Arsenal the week after away. And it's like, you're keeping him for the rise, but then he's going to go down. And then he goes on a really bad run of fixtures. So it's coming to that point soon. Brought Salah in for the 12th man. 4 points. Not great, but better than nothing. My two argy-bargies pulled out. So I got Romero and Fernandez. Couldn't substitute anyone in because I did 12th man. I did think Enzo was going to play. I thought he's come back early just because they're playing this friendly against, was it Costa Rica?
I thought mind games.
Yeah. Oh. But someone said today on the telly, I think if it was like a big game, he would have played, but they didn't need him because the team was quite rotated, wasn't it, for the match against Forest? Lacroix 1 point, but hopefully he does well against Larnaca in midweek. Gusto, idiot. He was on for a big score as well. 5 points is not bad considering he got a red card. But yeah, he's going to miss the next league match now.
I can't remember if I saw someone say that was 4 in a row or 5 in a row if you included Maresca getting a red as well. Yeah, I
thought it was funny when Maresca was calling him an idiot when he got a red card the week before for running down the pit. So he should. Well, Maresca can be a bit awkward and might just go, right, I'm going to not play you in your Champions League, not going to play you in the Carabao Cup to, just to be awkward to Gusto for doing that.
He sort of, there was a comment, I can't remember the exact quote. There was a comment he sort of said it was something like they showed how much they wanted to win. Because, it's like Sanchez got booked for time wasted as well. And they were like, so far ahead with like no time to go.
Crazy. Yes. My 2 transfers come through for me though. Timber 8 and Saka 10. Kudus 4, Doku 3. Got taken off, 60 minutes?
Yeah, 59. Did he get the 60th in the end? Did he get the point for it too?
I'm not sure. I seen he
I
got.
know Reinders was 59th.
I seen he got 59 in FPL. Yeah, 59 in this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he'll still get minutes. Don't worry. Gordon, another early come off, and Haaland captain.
That Gordon one is really, I mean, it happens if you keep getting subbed at 70, but he was on 7 ppm, and I was just having a look at some of the stats, and if he'd have made 3 more passes in the game, he would have made the 25 minimum that you needed, and he was on like 90 something % accuracy. So he would have just, if he'd have made 3 more passes, he would have got 3 more ppm, and then he'd have been on 3 bonus points on top of, so an extra 2 points. Yeah, that cut off. And if he was on the pitch for the whole time, you'd imagine another 20 minutes, he could be flying there, go from 10 to 12.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Resting him for Europe.
So I've cut your train of thought.
I just said he's probably resting him for the European game.
Yeah, he does seem to be rotating a lot, doesn't he, Hal, now?
Yeah.
Or like at least taking people off early.
Yeah, and I don't really know what I'm going to do next week, so just going to wait and see what happens midweek.
Yeah, I mean, we all plan, don't we? We'll try and plan our transfers out now, but we're a fickle bunch. As soon as we find out someone's rising 0.3 or dropping or whatever happens, that straight away changes our plans, doesn't it? Or for most people, at least, at this point of the season. Mine looks pretty similar, to be fair. I had 3 transfers this week. So I changed Romero, luckily. I was torn between, I mean, it's not made that much difference, but I was torn between who to take out of Romero and Konsa. Konsa obviously has just a single next week, whereas Romero would have doubled, but I think I would have ended up taking him out anyway. So I took Romero out. I took Salah out, and I swapped Roofs. The clean sheet was always going to happen. I had a feeling that it was a possibility with Wolves coming up, but I felt like this week I can pick my keeper, and he would probably be the plan is he'll probably be my keeper for the rest of the season now, unless I'm really stacked with money. So I'm not too worried that, he only got the 1 pointer this week. There's still another game to go. So Henderson in goal. Calafiori was who came in for Romero. So 7 points. Graeme, did you get off out of your seat when that Calafiori goal went in?
I leapt out the chair.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. That and the Fulkrug one this season. Been done by the offside flag.
What a finish, though, because the thing is, he's had most shots at goal from any Arsenal player this season. The problem is he doesn't get him on target. Because in this game, if you got him on target, all you want is him to get it on target. And like you, obviously, an Arsenal fan, you want it to be in the net. But if he gets it on target, you get a point, don't you? On target. So
he's got an eye for it, though, and three shots. I think it was in that game, all pretty close. I hit the post in the game before that, I think, wasn't it, against West Ham? So we'll talk Arsenal in a bit. Timber came in for me as well. So Timber, Calafiori and Henderson were my 3 transfers in. So I've got the double Arsenal clean sheet. Whether or not they both play tomorrow, I have a feeling Timber might and Calafiori might get a rotation. I'm not sure. I feel a bit 50-50 on Calafiori for this European game. But I think Atletico, they're a hard team.
Do you want my view on it? I think
what do you reckon?
I think he'll go strong tomorrow. I think Lewis Skelly got the last game because although no Champions League game is easy, but it wasn't elite Champions League team we played, and we were at home. This one, Atletico Madrid, they've got Alvarez and Griezmann up front, so I think he'll want his best 4 defenders on the pitch tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's a bit damaging as well. We're on a bit of a good run now. Like if we keep it going, I think it's pretty good for the team. But the drop off isn't there if we do go to Skelly or someone like that. In Cape maybe. Konsa with 2, pretty disappointing, and Lacroix with 1. You guys both had him as well. So yeah, I think I'm happy to keep Lacroix, but I think Konsa will come out. for next week. Kudus, the same as you guys. Foden with the 8, which I think he looked like he had an all right game, but it's not really getting the attacking returns at the moment. Player of the season, Elliot Anderson. Finished the day on 11 ppm, put a strongly worded letter into Dream Team, and they quickly bumped him up to 12 next day. Had the clicker out counting all his actions. No, he's been brilliant. I think I'm going to probably keep him, even though he's got a single next week as well, because he just keeps doing it. So I don't think there's any point taking him out. Eza, though, 3 points. He was anonymous in the Fulham game, so got a decision to make on him, I think. And then, yeah, Gordon, the same as you two, and Haaland, Cap. Salah went for the 12th man as well, because I kind of wanted him for this week, but for the same reasons as Ben. I didn't want to lose the value, and I still thought he'd do quite well. So, yeah, a little bit disappointed with how that's gone so far, but it is what it is. Still another game to go. Right. Drop a like if you haven't already, and subscribe to get kept up to date with all our Dream Team content. Ben, fixture ticker. I've still got game week 8 there because obviously it's still underway. But what are we looking like for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, just Carabao Cup starts next week again. So Tottenham, Villa and Forest are out, but the rest of the European teams are still in. Liverpool got a away game against Brentford and Crystal Palace at home. Man City have Villa away, Swansea at home. Decent little game, but could be rotation. Arsenal have Crystal Palace at home and Brighton at home. So possibly a bit stronger for a cup match, I think, from Arsenal. Obviously, I think the wing backs will get rotated in that one, definitely. You might see Martinelli, Trossard, plays like that. Obviously, you guys will probably know a bit better than me. Newcastle, I think, could be a good double game week. Fulham at home and Tottenham at home. Obviously, Newcastle are defending the trophy, so they'll want to put a strong team out. Chelsea have a nice home game against Sunderland and Wolves in the Cup. I expect rotation in the Cup, but I think they'll still be strong enough to get through. Tottenham, Everton away and Newcastle away, quite difficult. Double game week for them. Yeah, but I think you'll still see Kudus double in there. Not too sure about the rest. Palace have Arsenal away and Liverpool away. That's like the worst double game week you could have. But it's Palace. They just turn up against the top teams, don't they? And I think they'll go strong as well. It's
a fun team. It's a fun team at the moment, aren't they? I think that Bournemouth game was probably one of the better games I've seen this season.
Yeah, God, Mateta, if he just put his foot on it instead of just poked his foot out instead of trying to smash it, he could have had 4. Oh, he had about 10 shots in the game anyway, didn't he? It's ridiculous. 5 on target. Yeah. And I'll just call out the other doublers as well, because we've got Brighton, who have Man United away and Arsenal away. I think everyone's going to stay away from that one. I've seen some questioning bringing in Welbeck, but
there's a question on it.
I've seen it in the chat just now, but I think he'll probably be injured next week.
I actually put him down as one of my answers because there was someone asking about a 3.1 player. I put Welbeck down as a potential.
And we have Fulham away at Newcastle and Wickham. I can't see me going there because it just obviously not in Europe. So next week they work back to singling again. All the other teams are doubling all the way through. Brentford away, at home at Liverpool and Grimsby away. And Wolves have Burnley at home and Chelsea at home.
Wolves, if he was going to go outside of the normal European like bunch. Like Wolves have probably got the best double where it's at home. I know Chelsea's not going to be great, but they've just been pretty terrible, haven't they? So
Yeah.
I can't see many people taking punts on their players.
No, not for me. Maybe if you wanted a punt, maybe that Thiago, what's his name, plays for Brentford.
Yeah,
Igor Thiago.
He's scored tonight, hasn't he?
Has he?
1-0 Brentford.
Yeah, he's been doing all right, but it's just a transfer in, transfer out, and you got Liverpool at home, which ain't a bad fixture now, is it?
Target Liverpool.
After 4 defeats in a row.
We'll leave the ticker up on the screen, and I'll ask some questions about the fixtures sort of to both of you and who might come up. But Graeme, with Arsenal then, what sort of team do you think will put out for the Brighton Carabao Cup? We'd have to assume that Crystal Palace, the main focus will be the Prem, so I'd assume it's going to be a similar lineup to what we've been having. But Brighton, home, Carabao Cup, a team that we've struggled with at times, recent times.
Yeah, I think, first of all, if you look back to the team we put out against Port Vale in the previous round, I've copied down that team tonight. It was Kepa in goal, Ben White, Saliba, Mosquera, Lewis Skelly. The midfield 3 was Norgard, Wanyeri and Eze. And Saka captained the team. And obviously he wanted minutes because he was coming back from injury, although he went off after about 60 minutes. Marino and Martinelli. So in answer to your question, although Brighton are a strong team, and of course we could have players on the bench, I suspect many of that team will start again. I think Kepa obviously being goal. Ben White is back in training again, so as long as he's fit, he plays. I think Mosquera will play. I think Norgard will play, and I think Lewis Skelly will play. I think Wanyeri, Marino, and probably Martinelli. And it depends where Havertz is with his fitness. Because he's in training now, so if he's close to coming back, I think they might give him that game, or certainly run out off the bench. So I've got there probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 players, and then I think that'll be, he will mix it up with probably 2 or 3 players from who are like his go-to players in his main strong 11. Who they're likely to be is obviously we can only speculate, but I think Saka does tend to play these games. I know in some way. If he doesn't start, he comes off the bench. So I think he's going to be involved in that and certainly be on the bench. I think Eze could play maybe 2 games. I think Eze's one. He played in the last round with Odegaard out. I think that, he last year for Palace, he showed he could play sort of like 2 games a week if required. And I think, obviously, I don't know where we are with the other defender who we bought from Leverkusen, Ankiape. I don't know where we are with his fitness. So did he? So he might play in that game. Depends how, obviously they look at numbers, sports science. They're looking at, sort of like in training if they think they're at that level. But he could go with one of his senior defenders. He could play Saliba or Gabriel, go with one senior defender. Could play Eze in midfield, and he might play possibly one of who he plays up front, like Trossard or Saka in that team. But I think essentially it will be 7 or 8 of those players. I don't think many of them will double that week, to be fair. But he will have them on the bench, I think, if we get into trouble, because Brighton are a strong side. And if we're behind him again, he'll have people like, if Eze's not playing, if Saka's not playing, they'll be on the bench to come on, as will Gokka is, I should imagine. But, I think we will rotate in that game, even though it's Brighton. We are at home. And I think he'll have a lot of the big guns on the bench.
Yeah, I think.
But he's got two 11s now, Scott, hasn't he? He's got 2 players for every position, you'd argue. So I think that's still a strong team. If he went with Kepa, White, Mosquera, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, Wanyeri, Norgard, say Eze, then one of Saka, Trossard, Marino and Martinelli. I think that's a very strong side still. But I think a lot of the main players will be rested for the Brighton game.
Yeah, I reckon similar. The only one I'm probably going to take him out, I think, depending on how the week goes. But I wonder if maybe if we do play Wanyeri in midfield, if rather than Wanyeri and Eze, he opts to chuck one of Zubimendi and Rice in there with Norgard, possibly.
Yeah, he could
It's the
do.
only. Yeah, so the one that people will be worried about. So we probably don't think the fullbacks are going to start, but
No,
you'd imagine they're still worth holding on to now if you've brought them in.
yeah, definitely.
But Saka is going to be the one that most people care about. Would you be confident enough to have him or transfer him in? And then would you be confident enough to captain him?
Well, I'm transferring him in this week, as you know. I've already said that. I will be transferring him in. I think I looked at you never go against Haaland, but Haaland's only going to play one game this week, and it's away at Aston Villa. I know he could do his normal stuff and score 2 or 3 goals, do a madness, but I think Haaland away from home, Aston Villa, good side, likely to be rotated out against Swansea because you can have, I think Mamouche coming back. Mamouche could play in the forward position next week even, and Haaland could get a rest. Because the thing with Manchester City is Haaland's their only main striker. If he gets injured, I think their chances of in the Premier League take a massive dive. I think they need to keep him fit, so I think Pep will want to give him a rest. So he's only likely to play one game. Would you have Haaland as a captain in a single? Some people might. If you're going to go against him, that's the week to go against him. And I think Saka has got 2 home games, potentially. One he would definitely play. And I think the second one he would have some involvement in. So I think Saka is not a bad shout to transfer in if you're thinking of, if you haven't got him. And even consider him for captaincy next week, Scott.
I'm considering it. Would you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely considering it. Like you were saying, Saka seems to always get minutes, even against the League 2 teams, and that he either starts or he comes off the bench. So definitely one for the captaincy.
What about, so I'll weave them into the questions in a minute, but Chelsea, good start of a run for them as well. Or probably started it last week, really. Any love for them? Obviously, we've got to wait and see what Enzo and Caicedo end up playing minutes-wise this week after being out. But anyone else, maybe a defender or a João Pedro, get your interest for this week?
I wrote down Chalobah, who played in the last round against Lincoln. Chalobah. And bearing in mind they've got a few centre halves out injured at the moment. I think, although Toussaint, I think was back on the bench, wasn't he, at the weekend? So, but I think Chalobah could play both. So he's one from Chelsea. Pedro's the other, although he's not in great form. The fixtures are good. So Pedro. But I think if Enzo's fit, I think he plays both, because Enzo's a bit like Saka. He always wants to play. And I think Enzo, he played in the last round, didn't he, at Lincoln as well? So I think Enzo, Pedro and Chalobah are the 3 that I wrote down more likely to possibly get double game weeks. If Enzo's fit, that is.
What about you, Benny? You thinking of adding any in to the mix? Or you had enough Chelsea with your Gusto and Enzo troubles?
Yeah. Obviously, João Pedro's on the watch list. Definitely with these fixtures coming up. I know he's not been in great form, but he started the season on fire and he's proven that he can go off in games. With them not having lots of injuries and suspensions, he could get the 2 games. And then obviously the week after he's got carry a bag. So it's a good little run of fixtures, and then it goes into Wolves and Burnley after that. So yeah.
I've got the team that they played against Lincoln. It was Jorgensen in goal, Gusto, Chalobah, Fofana, Hato, Dos Santos, Fernandes, Gittins. That Leicester player, Ben, is it Buonanotte? How do you pronounce it?
Buonanotte.
Buonanotte, yeah, he played. And Garnacho and George. So Pedro did start that game. Cucurella came off the bench. Neto came off the bench, as did Estevillo. I think Garnacho's a good shout, he could get 2.
The thing that makes me interested in Pedro is the fact that he can't play this Champions League game. So He'd have had his rest. But, I mean, he could just play Prem and then have another rest. We don't know. But, Ben, what about City? So, obviously, Swansea, there probably is going to be rotation there. But is there anyone that you think might possibly get to? Like, would you still keep a Foden? We'd imagine, I think Marmoush should be back for that one. Do you think he's going to end up starting up top? Because Foden sometimes does play up top, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Marmoush should definitely get this game. Play up front with Haaland rested. I don't know if he'll be on the bench, but I'm thinking this week, because this time Doku's going to get the game because he didn't play in the Carabao last time. So I'm hoping he'll get the double this week in the GW9. Savinho played longer in the league game this week, didn't he? Foden, I think Foden got minutes in the last round as well, didn't he? Reinders has been a bit disappointing, isn't he, lately? He'll probably be rested in the Carabao Cup.
He's played a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if O'Reilly carries on playing in the team, and then that's when Aït-Nouri comes in and starts against Swansea, because he's not put a foot wrong, really, has he?
Yeah, I'd up. It's hard to say now. I'd up Aït-Nouri for this week potentially. But then he didn't even make the squad, did he, for the last game? He was due back, but apparently he has travelled with them for the Champions League. So that's one that I can afford, and I think it's a good price if he does end up being okay. But I can't see him playing twice is the only problem. Like, just coming back. Vardy old benched as well was kind of one you don't expect to see.
That was a shock.
And then Palace, they are like the team to go for at the minute. Is it off-putting that they have these two hard games? But the problem with Dream Team now is that with the price changes, it's either buy him ahead, or I'm talking about Mateta or Munoz, either buy them 4 hard games, but get a nice price rise as long as they do well in the second game. Or you wait for the fixtures to be better the week after, but then you pay extra. So is it worth just getting them in anyway with the so-called hard games?
I'd say so. If you want Mateta for these coming weeks after that, just get him in while you can, because he can still score against Arsenal and Liverpool. He scored a famous goal against Arsenal, didn't he, last season? Mateta, did he chip the keeper? Can't remember.
Yeah, he did.
I blocked that out.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I remembered that. So, and I was looking at Henderson's price. If he concedes again against Larnaca, he's going to go down 0.3.
Yeah, he actually went down last week as well. He was supposed to stay the same, but I end up bringing him in for a drop. Yeah,
so like the Donnarumma now, he looks like he's going to be 4.3, and Henderson might be 3.3. They're both the same price like last week. It's crazy how it can change so quickly.
One last one on that subject. Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say they've got difficult fixtures next game week with Arsenal away and Liverpool away, but I think they almost like fixture-proof Palace, because, as you said yourself, I think Ben said it, they tend to turn up against the big teams. But after that, if you look at the fixtures after that, they've got 3 home games. They've got Brentford at home, Alkmaar at home, and then their derby, their local derby, Brighton at home. Then they play Wolves away. Then they've got Strasbourg away, and they've got Burnley away. So those are, I think, really good fixtures. And they're in that Conference League where he's going strong. So it's a bit like this week. We've all got Lacroix. He's only got 1 point, but we all know they've got that second game in the Conference League against Larnaca, which is, we're thinking, that game, that they could get points in that game, and they're always going to have, unlike Chelsea last year, where he rested players in the Conference League all the way up to the semi-finals. Glasner is playing his strongest team in these games. So I think, in answer to your question, I wouldn't be worried about if, putting Palace assets in, like Munoz or Mateta this week, if you want to go with it, if that's your gut feeling, I wouldn't be put off by the fixtures. I'll think about it long term. If you want to hold them long term, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think I agree. And then one quick fire one. Ben, Munoz or Saka? Who scores more in Game Week 9?
I'm glad I didn't get that one.
I say Saka.
Graeme?
Oh, I've got to say Saka.
All right, I'll bring him in then. Cool. Right. We did cover most of the Arsenal bits actually in this in the build up to that. But yeah, any other bits you might want to just quickly add on Arsenal, or should we weave it into the questions? The only one I was going to really come on to is Gyökeres. Is he? If you had him now, do you stick with for the fixtures? Because I know there are people that have got him, and patience is running out. He might be doing things for the team, but it's not getting him points.
Is that for me or Ben?
No, for you.
Do you know what? I watch him, and I think he does a lot of great stuff, but it's not getting you fantasy points. Although he had 2 shots on target at the weekend, I just think he's lacking that little bit of confidence in front of goal when you're in the middle of a goal drought. He hasn't scored for something like 6-7 games, has he? So if I had him, which I haven't had him in my team this year, I had him as a 12th man. I would sell. Depending, of course, what you want to do with your team, and how much money you've got and all the rest of it, where it can get to. If you've got something lined up that you think, if you can stretch to another player, or, because I don't think there's a lot of forwards in the league at the moment that are, apart from Haaland, apart from Mateta. Well, in answer to your question, if I had Gyökeres this week, I would be selling to Mateta. I would seriously consider that, because Gyökeres is 5.4 at the moment. If he doesn't do anything against Atletico, he's due a drop. Mateta's going to go up, isn't he, to about 4.8. And Mateta's in form, and Palace's fixtures after this difficult week are good. So, and Gyökeres has got Havertz coming back. And I do think, a lot of Arsenal fans do think that Arteta is in love with Havertz, and basically it's only a matter of time before that change in the team happens. He's praising Gyökeres up for his work, and he is doing great stuff for the team. But when you're not scoring goals, and that's what they bought him for, sooner or later that's going to be questioned. And so I do think with Havertz lurking in the background, I think it's time to think about moving on. And Mateta's an obvious one there. Voltemade is another one. They're in that bracket where you could bank some money, and it could get you Saka in your midfield, or a top midfielder, or an Arsenal defender, for example. Who would you want in the next few weeks? Gyökeres up front, or an Arsenal defender? I think most people would say, looking at the points that you're getting out of the Arsenal defence, you would go for an Arsenal defender. Seems strange, but that's the way the game is this year at the moment. So I would personally sell, Scott.
Yeah, I can't really argue it. If you're Saka and you get a pen against Crystal Palace, are you going to give it to Gyökeres? Get his confidence up?
I think
you're going to make him work for his goal.
I think that at the end of the day, I'm not sure at the moment who the penalty taker is. I think Saka was the penalty taker, and I thought that I just got this funny feeling they might rotate it. I think if the next one on field, I think Gyökeres might take it. Arsenal do that. I can remember last season when we played, or 2 years ago, when we played at Bournemouth, they let Havertz have the penalty, didn't they, to get him off the mark. They know Gyökeres is going through a lean spell. Get him a goal. I think everyone in that team wants to see him score. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next penalty we get, if Gyökeres is on the pitch, he takes it.
And then I think everyone's in agreement really with maybe not the 1, 2, 3 who are the best defenders, but Timber, Gabriel, Calafiori seem to be the popular ones. So I don't think many people want to, if they've got 5-ish million, no one really seems to want to spend it on Saliba at the minute. But the other end of the pitch, if you've got Saka, and I don't know, you're going into Burnley, Slavia, Sunderland, let's just say Havertz isn't back. who's the second? Is there a second attacking or midfield player that you'd bring in? Obviously, I've got Eze in at the minute, and I don't particularly think it's worked out so far. Would you rather just go for like a Rice, or is there any other attack or mid you'd bring in from Arsenal?
Well, I think Eze is the baller, isn't he? He's just. I think the performance on Saturday, they played him in the 10, but they played him on the right side of the pitch. He's better from the left side. Not necessarily out wide in the left wing position, but he plays as an inside forward, drifting in from the left in the 10 position. And they didn't play him, I think, that suited his skill set, although he's still, he's capable of creating. I think Eze is the next creative behind Saka, but the problem is at the moment he's not getting the returns in this Arsenal team he got in the Palace team. He's not the main man in the Arsenal team, is he? And also he's not, I don't know if you know, Scott, but he's not picking up the bonus that he did. He's got a different role in this Arsenal team. So it makes him slightly less attractive. Who is there in this Arsenal team? Well, if you look at the goals, they're always spread around. Trossard gets the odd goal. Declan Rice gets the odd goal. The goals are shared, aren't they? So, but Saka is, I think, up there always up there as one of our leading scorers, and he's the one that I would go for. If he's not scoring, who's the second? Well, you'd probably say it should be Gyökeres, but it's not happening for him at the moment, is it? So it's very hard. If anything, the defenders are scoring goals, aren't they? Gabriel, Timber's got a couple. Gabriel.
Yeah, do you think they're a better use of the funds to go?
Yeah, I just think there's more value in the defence, at the moment than attacking assets. Even if Timber and Calafiori are going to be rotated for the odd game, I still think that they're worth it. Obviously Gabriel's would be the first choice, and funny enough, I haven't got him, but Gabriel will be the one you'd go for because he got an assist at the weekend. He's scored the other week at Newcastle. And he's always a threat in the penalty box. And he's more likely to play, I think, as well. So I think it's hard to say the second goal scoring Arsenal asset is. If I would still think, if you're not having Saka, Eze's still a reasonable shout. I still think he's going to get better. Now, you might say Gyökeres can get better as well. Gyökeres gets a couple of goals on tomorrow night against Atletico Madrid. The whole conversation changes, doesn't it? You know how fickle we are as Dream Team fans and players. So, but I do think at the moment, I think he's struggling. He's just, that chance he had on Saturday on his right foot, he just wanted to get it on target. He hit it too early. He had a chance to take it further close to the goal. And that strikes me as a player not in the best frame of mind at the moment.
There's desperation in it when you're desperate for a goal.
Yeah. And there's a couple of times also, I just think that he wants a goal so badly at the moment. I just think he made the wrong option. So, I want him to do well. I really wanted him at the start of the season when we were linked with Sesko. I did want him over Sesko. So I do want him to come good. So, and I just hope ultimately he does. But at the moment, in terms of Dream Team, it's very difficult to make a case for holding him in the team, isn't it?
One person who has hit the ground running, Voltemade from Newcastle, is in the questions saying, is he the best captain pick for next week? A Brighton fan popping up. I'm sure we're going to see some more of him next week in the chat in that Brighton game. They always seem to get the better of us. Get Carter as well. Max captain this week for the Prem Carabao Cup double. Nathan Wisby asking best captain picks. And again, Joe Cook also asking, is it a max captain week? So Ben, thoughts on captaincy this week first, and then we'll discuss max captain after. Who you liking for the captaincy? We obviously just mentioned a bit about Saka and Haaland.
Yeah, I like Saka this week, like I was saying before. Last week we were talking about Gordon, weren't we? That saying like he could be a captaincy option. He did well in the last round of the Carabao Cup as well. But Voltemada's just ticking along nicely with 1 goal a game. So could be the one. Pedro could be good, but we can't guarantee he'll play the second game. But if he's having a rest, like you said, he's having a rest in the Champions League now because he's got a red card. Liverpool. Are you going to bring anybody in when they're not playing well? It's just
We
if you've
mentioned
got Salah-
Gakpo could be the cover, didn't we?
Yeah.
But do you know he's going to play too? He looked really good against United.
Yeah, and he might go back to Ekitike now because he was doing well before they signed Isak. Yeah, that's probably about it. Kudus is one that could play twice, but he's not really been prolific. He had a goal chalked off at the weekend, didn't he? But yeah, that's why I like the idea of the max captain this week.
Oh, back-to-back boosters.
Yeah.
Ooh, blowing his load.
B2BB.
What about you, Graeme? Anyone you're liking the look of?
Well, I think I agree with Ben, really. If you're not going to go Haaland, I think Saka's the next best. And if it's not him, Newcastle got 2 home fixtures. They play Fulham and they play Spurs. So I'm liking, though he has done nothing in the last 2 game weeks and he's on penalties, Gordon, if he could stay longer on the pitch, I think he gets both games and he's capable of a haul. We saw that the other week. I think Voltemade is one that seriously has to be considered. I'm right in thinking he's scored in every home game he's played at St James's Park this season. So he's one I think you can consider. He's got 2 home games. And I think for those who want to brave it, stick it out with Salah, this could be the week where I think he might play 2 games, and they've got 2 home games, haven't they? They've got Brentford, which is a nice home game. And then he's got Palace. Now, Palace is a tough fixture. They've given Liverpool some hard games over the last year. But he might think, do you know what? Salah needs to play to get his confidence back. So I think if you're thinking of hanging on to Salah, it's possibly, and Haaland, it's not Haaland's week. He's only got potentially the 1 game. You could take the risk on Salah. If it's a brave man to do it the way he's playing, but if you're going to hang on to him, I think it's something to consider.
Yeah, I'd feel more inclined to, if I had Salah, maybe not go all the way, but this is how defensive I go. But playing the max captain, like if I had him in the team, that might be enough to play the max captain. But I don't know. I know it's an insurance policy playing it, isn't it? But I think if you have Salah in your team, that's one more player that could go off that week. What do we think on the max captain then? I think at the moment I'm leaning Saka for captaincy, but again I've eyed up Gordon, but the minutes is annoying me a little bit. What do you reckon on max cap?
I wanted to play me max captain in an FA Cup week. That's what I was thinking at the start of the season. I don't mind it next week for the simple reason if you're going to go Haaland most weeks, and if you don't think Haaland's going to return in the way he normally does, max captain is you'd be silly to go max captain and suddenly Haaland ends up with 2-3 goals in the week and Haaland's the main point scorer. But I've got this funny feeling for the first time for a number of weeks. Next week it might not be Haaland who gets the most points, and I can't tell you who's going to get the most points next week. But I think you made a good point there. You had Salah in your team. If you've got a team set up right where you've got lots of routes where you think that any one of these players could get it for you, including Salah, I think that's max captain's a fair shout, particularly if you haven't used a chip yet. So I think it's a possibility. I do think it's not a bad shout next week. But like you, I'm slightly leaning to Saka.
I suppose as well, max cap, a lot of people have switched it up and put a lot of budget into the sort of defence, haven't they, in this week? And then if you've gone and put your money in defence and you've got a Calafiori and Timber and you don't think they're going to play, like max cap may be better suited if you have got still a few strikers up there or bigger in attack.
Yeah, I think if you've got 2 strikers and at least 4 in midfield, or if you had 4 midfielders you think are going to play, but I don't think anyone's got. Most people have got like your Kudoses, your Fodens, your Ezes, your Dokus, might have Saka. I don't think everyone's got players they're confident that they're going to play double game weeks. Enzo or Casado. I don't think anyone's got the sort of players who they're confident they're going to play double game weeks next week. So the only reason to play it would be if you think, if you've got a spread of players, like you say, not too many defenders, because I think a lot of the Arsenal defenders won't play next week. Even Cucurella, if you got him, he's quite highly owned. He's not likely to play next week. So from that point of view, but if you're just thinking, no, I'm not going to get much out of Haaland, I think Newcastle or Arsenal is where it's going to. If you're going to get points out of anywhere next week, it'll be from Saka, probably Voltemade or Gordon will be my prediction. Newcastle 2 home games, Arsenal 2 home games. Saka's likely to play at least one and a bit of a second, and Voltemade and Gordon might end up playing both. So, but I do see the risk that if you're not confident, you've got enough people playing double game weeks, and you've got a lot of defenders, it's probably not best used. But I think there's an argument for it. I don't think Haaland anyway is going to probably get the most points in the game next week for the first time for a number of weeks. And I think, as I said, I think Saka is, somebody who I would strongly consider captaining next week. But I'm not against playing that max captain. I can understand why people would want to do it.
You said about the FA Cup week for max cap. Ben, you've been saying it pretty much since the start of the season that you'd eyed up max cap for the FA Cup, and you kind of said it because I think I remember you saying that you can bring in a player, you could bring in like a punt player, couldn't you? Like that could play and haul in the FA Cup, but then play your max cap, and obviously you could get a normal player, or you could get one of the guys that possibly hauls. Do you think if Marmoush gets any minutes in Champions League, it could be anything in the punt of Marmoush in for next week to be in the squad for Swansea and then max cap? Is that the nearest thing to a wild punt you could get?
Yeah, I've been looking at the FA Cup third round, and it's a double game week that round with the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final. So if you're going to bring a player in, you're going to try and get a player that's going to play twice, aren't you, normally? And you can't guarantee they're going to have a good double, or there might be someone who's singling who's playing a League Two team. So do you really want to bring a player in who's only got one game and you don't really know who's going to start that game? The only thing I can think is, remember, you got the substitutes. So if a player misses, say your team's set for that week and then a player misses out for the first match, you can bring in a punt for that as a sub, and then you haven't got him for the week after. That's the other thing I'm thinking. So I'm thinking maybe max captain a bit earlier and play in this round maybe. And like you say, that's a good one, that Marmoush.
The thing with Marmoush, Ben, I don't know, I had him last year in that FA Cup. Who did you have on that Saturday? I had him that double game week. I captained him.
Leighton Orient,
and he got about 4 points, and then he was on the bench. Oh, that was a disaster. I remember that last year.
And then he got a hat-trick the next game against Newcastle.
That's right,
yeah. Everyone sold him.
Yeah. I feel like I've got, at some point, I will have unfinished business and I will go and collect these points he owes me, but yeah, I don't know if it's this week. Lee, I think we've covered. He said if Saka stays fit, he's clearly an own going forward, but could you get away with one more week without him? I think I'm going to want to get him in this week. Did you get away with it?
I wish I had him in already. He looked so good on Saturday night. 5 bonus, didn't he, on Saturday? And he didn't get up. And if he probably would have taken the penalty, to be honest. So, no, I think you've got to get him in now. I would have had him in last week if I could have done. And as I said, I think Arteta does tend to use him in the Carabao in some way. So I think he's a must-have this week if you haven't got him.
Yeah, agree.
And then Nobbles, I mean, I think we've also covered it. We've been doing Carabao for a bit now, but who are the players you can see as sort of genuine double game week players? If there's anyone you had to, I mean, we've just said Saka loads of times, so maybe not Saka, but are there any other players who you think you're confident that will get to. I'm looking at Chalobah as well. I know you mentioned him a minute ago, Graeme, but he's someone that I might end up putting in because obviously done it last time out. Anyone else you think might get the 2?
Anyone I can think we haven't mentioned yet is probably Munoz. Munoz should get the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've written down Palace assets next week. If you want double game week players, Palace assets. I think it'd be interesting to see who do you think will go play double up for Liverpool? Do you think? I mean, normally Van Dijk. I know he does occasionally play these sort of games, doesn't he? I'm just wondering who they're going to play in that defence next week against Palace because they won't. They're going to have to go reasonably strong, aren't they? So maybe one of Van Dijk. I mean, Konate's been struggling with an injury, so maybe Van Dijk.
Is Gomez fit?
He doesn't seem to be using him, does he? Well, he'll probably get a game next week, but he won't play a double, will he? Of the attackers, do you think there's an attacker there who gets a double?
Tough, innit?
I think Salah will.
Yeah.
Annoyingly.
Salah or Gakpo, maybe.
Yeah, the only thing with Gakpo is I feel like Ekatike's got to come in for one of them. And is he going to get one at striker or is he going to get one off the left is all. You got Chiesa banging on the door.
Been doing well, hasn't he?
Yeah. I feel like all the forwards seem to be more left-sided than Salah's side, which might end up with him getting away with it.
The other team you've got to think will go strong next week is Tottenham because they play Newcastle away. And Porro did play in the last round against Doncaster, so could Porro get 2 games next week?
Doggy's injured, isn't he?
Is he?
I think I heard he got injured at the weekend.
I mean, Paulino's got reasonable points, isn't he, for a defensive midfielder?
Did you see he got 10 tackles, 5 points for just tackles this week?
Beast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So maybe he's one who you might think might get 2 games. Kudos might get 2 games.
Steve, I reckon Bentancur is a really good pick.
Well, if Enzo's fit, I think Enzo might play too. Having said that, they might be a bit cautious as he's coming back from an injury, but he always plays. But I agree with you, Scott. I think Chalobah's the shout.
Yeah, fingers crossed. They've obviously got Tosin and Champong, who's done well at the weekend. I think there's a question on him as well, but. Yeah, I think and Hato as well, but can play on the left, can he? But yeah, I don't know. Chalobah seems to have been favoured, doesn't he, so far? I don't know if that's by default that he's the only one who's been staying fit. But into defenders, Ian's been eagerly anticipating this one. I kept him on his toes. It was the first question in, but I thought I'd group the captaincy and the Carabao Cup first, as they were I think the bits that most people are going to be interested in for this week. But he wants thoughts on O'Reilly at 2.5 for City. He's a midfielder. We obviously didn't like him at the start of the season because he's down as a midfielder, playing in defence, but he just keeps getting points. So any love for O'Reilly?
Well, I think with Aït-Nouri coming back, is that going to take minutes off him? I mean, the annoying thing is that in my work league, the guy above me has had O'Reilly for about 4 weeks, and because of O'Reilly's point, he's gone above me. So O'Reilly's been doing well for him. But I think with Aït-Nouri coming back, there's always Guardiola, the play over there. I just think that his minutes might be shared more over the coming weeks. But he's obviously great value, isn't he? At 2.5 or 2.8, whatever it is.
Yeah,
and he's got 40 odd points, hasn't he? Something reasonable. Well, I don't dislike the pick if it enables you to spread your funds around the rest of your team. I think that's the way.
Yeah, I think if you're desperate for Saka, it could be the way to get Saka in.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, he will get less minutes eventually, but he is ticking along, and for 2.5 million, you can't really grumble. But is it better to go for 4 millions ish, and instead of getting Saka and O'Reilly? That's the question.
I want Nori. So I want O'Reilly not to play, but I think it's too early. I think you need to see O'Reilly. Yeah, Nori actually playing first.
I think Riley's okay for the next 2 or 3 game weeks, but I think as Nori starts building up his fitness, I think Nori is that he was bought for that position, so I expect him to reclaim that position.
Yeah.
So then O'Reilly won't be in the team. I don't know, not in the team so much anyway.
It depends how much Pep wants to reward him, I guess, as well. Though he's the future and he's doing well, so yeah, whether it becomes a 1 a weeker and Nuri only plays 1 a week, but then again, it just depends how big the match is that they're going to be playing. I suppose if they're in the title race as well.
If he does well, he'll go up really quickly in price, won't he?
He's level to go up a price. It's quite low, I guess, points wise.
Yeah, he's got a history of converting attacking midfielders into wing backs, hasn't he? With Zinchenko, he did that to him as well, didn't he?
Ian's asking, could O'Reilly play in the Rodri spot, but I don't see that.
Midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's got Gonzalez for that role, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I think it'll be Gonzalez there. Thoughts on bringing in João Pedro? We obviously touched on it a little bit, but he's thinking of possibly capping him. Fancy that?
I don't mind it.
I like it with a transfer, but I don't know if I'll go all out on the cap.
Yeah, not sure.
I mean, he's not. I can't remember the last time he scored a goal.
West Ham, wasn't it?
I think he got one against Fulham, didn't he? I think that was the last one that I can remember. He got one at West Ham, one at Fulham, and up until the game last week, I don't think he had a shot at goal in 4 or 5 games. Because Chelsea fans were moaning about it that he wasn't even getting shots off a goal. So, but I understand.
Kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt from that stat because they kept getting red cards, didn't they, and stuff like that as well. Yeah. I guess it's like with Pedro, because the second part of his question is thoughts on Mateta. Well, like at some point, you've got to go for the guy that could score that people don't trust because nobody was bringing in. Well, I don't think they were. You mentioned it, Ben, but not many people were bringing in Mateta for this week. And then he gets the hat trick, and now everyone wants him for next week. Like sometimes you've got to get in early. I know it doesn't always work in terms of price changes and price rises, but there's every chance that Pedro does better than Mateta next week, but everyone wants Mateta because he's just done the points.
Yep.
I think you can sometimes pick your moments on players if you think it's a good week for it. Tough.
Yeah. Tough week for Mateta. Like say going up 0.3 if he doesn't play against Larnaca or if he gets a couple of goals. But Pedro's got a good run of fixtures too, so yeah, it's very tough decision. But yeah, go on, Graeme. I'd say something.
No, I wouldn't bring him in myself, but despite the fixtures, I would. If you're asking me for a straight choice out of Pedro and Mateta, I would. I had Pedro early in the season. I would, at the moment, be going for Mateta, based on the fact that although Pedro's got some good fixtures coming up, I think Mateta's also got some good fixtures coming up. But obviously next week, it's probably not the week to go for him. Game week 9, but from game week 10 up to game week 13, those fixtures look really strong. He's got 3 home games in a row, Mateta. He's on penalties, isn't he?
So, he's a guaranteed pen rather than
guaranteed pen.
Could be.
There's a lot to like about him. I still think I don't think Pedro's a prolific goal scorer. And the other thing is, talking to I know a lot of Chelsea fans, and they say he's better when he plays in the 10, which is behind the striker. So so I noticed last week Guy come off the bench, didn't he, and played more forward, and he dropped back. So I'm not saying it. I think he's capable of points, but I think Mateta is like playing down the middle, isn't he? Everything goes into him. I think Pedro in that Chelsea team is not set up so much. It's set up around the team rather than Pedro. Whereas I think Palace, I know they've got these attacking wing backs who get into great areas, but I think Mateta's the main man. He's a bit like a mini version of Haaland, is he? If Man City score on a Saturday, 9 times out of 10 it's going to say Haaland. I think if Palace score, it's more likely to be Mateta. So,
And I think 9 times out of 10 it's going to be assist Munoz by the looks of things as well.
It's true, yeah. So look, I would go Mateta over Pedro myself anyway, but I understand the argument for Pedro. Good player, good fixtures coming up.
Shane McClear, Salah, sell or hold for game week 9 with a possible captaincy, or get rid in game week 10. Ben, Salah, sell or hold?
Well, it all depends on what happens midweek, but at the moment, it's going to be going down again, and I think Saka's going to be a very popular transfer in this week, so I'd sell him till he starts banging the goals in again. Then I'll be selling him. Yeah, fixtures are tough as well. After this double game week, they've got Villa and Real Madrid, both at home though, and then they go into Man City away in the game week 11 before the international break.
He scams a 95th minute penalty and scores it against Frankfurt. Sell or hold?
I'd still sell, I think.
What about you, Graeme?
Yeah, it's a sell for me,
Well, you've
Scott.
got him.
The only thing I would say is, if you look at the fixture, as Ben's nailed it there, the fixtures coming up for Salah are really difficult. I just think you need to have a plan to get him back in around game week 13 when they start that week. I think they've got Sunderland at home. They've got some really not easy, but they've got fixtures where you can see, the Liverpool attackers started getting good returns. So I think I'm going to settle, but I'm going to try and work out a plan. I'm going to get him back in for game week 13.
Yeah, that was my thing when selling him. I thought 12 or 13 would be the return. CCFC Jack, is sells an okay hold now. If you have other fires to put out, he's my third keeper of the season already. Feels like a waste of transfers. Surely you got to keep him in for Dash, baby. Ben, keeping sells?
Yeah, if you've got other fires to put out, I'd just keep sells for now. I don't expect much from him though, because they've got Bournemouth next week, and they've been doing really well, aren't they, attacking wise? So yeah, if you've got other fires, the goalkeeper's the last player in my team now. So I'll sort out anyway. I've still got Roofs, but luckily I've done well with my goalkeeper pick this year.
I'd keep sells at this point. What do you think, Graeme?
You know me, I'm not a great one for really spending a lot of money on a keeper. So, and I know he's been dropping in his value, but I would like, now with Deitch coming in, there's an argument for keeping him. So I would probably keep him unless, if you've got a team where you're thinking, I don't really need to change much, but he's the one who's been costing me, then I would do it. But most people have got other things they want to do with their team. So for me, I agree with you, Scott. I'll keep him.
Yeah, I think Pickford's been such a good keeper under Daesh, hasn't he? I think Daesh is getting his hands on the European trophy this season. Yeah, would you get rid of Reinders? That's his second part of his question.
Would I what?
Sell Reinders if you had him.
That's a question for Tony, isn't it? Because he's got him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I wanted him at the start of the season, and then when he had that brilliant first game, I regret not putting him in. But he hasn't. He's been okay without really screaming at me to pick him in. But he's maintained his value around that 4.5 million slot, hasn't he? So I think that if I wanted a City asset, bearing in mind, Reinders has almost like been Pep's go-to man. He hasn't really rotated him out, has he? That's an argument for keeping him. But I'd really want Foden if I had one, even though he's in danger of being rotated at times. You mentioned about the weekend. He actually put Haaland through a couple of times, he would have had 2 assists if Haaland had put the goals away. So he would have got an even bigger return. So I wouldn't have picked him in the first place. But if I had him now, he's not the one that I really want at the moment. I want to try and get my midfield attacking sort of like as many assets who I think are going to. I know he does get the odd goal, to be fair, but there's other people I think ahead of him who I'd like to own rather than him. So if I had him, I'd probably be selling him unless I had other fires in my team to put out.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Reinders could actually move back into defence midfield as well if he wants to fit other attacking players in the team, and with Rodri being injured. But it's a tough one with him because he plays a lot of minutes and he's been unlucky. Like you say, he's been unlucky. And if he had a couple of assists or goals, we wouldn't even be discussing this. So I think, obviously, if you want to jump on someone who's going to be going up 0.3 and you think he's got better fixtures, then I don't mind the move away. But if you've got other fires put out, I'd be happy to keep him as well, just because City are City and they've got good fixtures coming up.
That's the thing. If they pump someone, you kind of feel like he could easily get like a goal or assist on there, but it hasn't happened the last few. I think I'd sell, but
I don't think he's been playing as far forward as he was at the start. I think since Foden's come back in the team in that number 10 role, I think he's dropped back a little bit in centre mid. He's a bit like if you imagine like the situation at Chelsea when Palmer plays, Fernandes drops back. When Palmer doesn't play, Fernandes plays more forward. I think with the attacking players now returning in that City team, like Mamouche is due to come back, Foden's now back in the team, Cherky's going to be coming back. I think he's going to be in the midfield, but I don't think he's going to be playing as far forward as he has been when he's been contributing goals in pre-season and at the start of the season. I mean, and I think the team is really set up for Haaland. So, and I think Foden's the one who's playing more forward. So, and obviously the wingers, Doku on one side, Savino on the other now. So I think he's playing slightly deeper. I don't know if that's affecting the fact that he's not getting any. I think his last assist was it at Arsenal. I think that was the last assist I can think of.
Yeah, I think that was his last return. Still a few bonus points, but right. This is the 3.1 pick question from Shay. 3.1 or less enablers. So he's put Bentancur, O'Reilly, who we've been speaking about. You got Milenkovic and Zinchenko now on the list. I'm guessing under anticipating Daesh. Got Richarlison there. I threw Welbeck into the mix at 2.8. Anyone around that sort of price you think could be worth a shout?
For me, there isn't really much there. Like, I do like, obviously this is probably not going to happen, but like keep an eye on that Achiampong, 2.4 million. He's done well every time he's come in. He done well in the first game of the season, and when he's come in this time, he's done well again. If Romero's injured longer term, Danso, 2.8 million, could be decent.
2.8, I didn't notice that price.
2.8, yeah. And obviously, I like O'Reilly, but eventually he's going to get, I reckon he'll end up losing his place to Nori in a few weeks' time. I mean, he'll be all right for now. Could get price rises out of him. And yeah, Forest defenders really. I won't go there yet though. Zinchenko 2.8, Milenkovic 2.9. That's about it for me really.
Any to add, Graeme?
The two I'd written down were O'Reilly. I know I talked to you about this the other week, didn't I? And you told me not to go there, and I didn't. But he scored a brilliant goal, didn't he, at Spurs? Buendia. He's 2.8.
Off the bench, wasn't it?
He's off the bench.
Yeah.
But he's somebody who I think, he's produced two outstanding bits of magic for Aston Villa in tight games to unlock the door to win them games.
Some goal actually. That I know it wasn't like an individual goal. I think that goal was one of the goal of the season contenders, just for the bit of play.
From Matty Cash.
Yeah. Well,
But don't you
Cash and
think
then the bring down as well.
it's a bit Spursy, really, and they spent the whole game booing him, and then he produces a 30-yard pass like that to win bit of the game. I know Buendia's brilliant finish won it, but that's probably the pass of the season, Scott, I think. Buendia and O'Reilly, the two I was looking at as probably being the best value at the moment. But it's difficult because Buendia's not actually nailed in the team, and O'Reilly is in the team, but likely his minutes are going to be compromised. The Chelsea, and on that Chelsea centre back, I got a guy at work, Simon, who goes to Chelsea games, and they weren't picking him earlier in the season. He's only in at the moment because there's injuries, and as likely as soon as those players are fit again, he's likely to, he's going to get a price rise this week, but he's not likely to stay in the team. But he's only about 2 point. I'm just trying to think of his value. 2.4. Yeah, he's going to get a price rise. But what about Estevio of Estevio? How'd you say his name?
Estevao.
Estevao. Yeah. What's he? Is he around 3-1?
Yeah, a lot of people asked about him on I think it was on the deadline or pre-deadline stream that we did, but I wasn't keen on the minutes, and
He's done it again, didn't he?
He got an assist, didn't he?
Got an assist again. Like
he's done it again.
He's got quite a high G. I think he's got the highest GA in the league, but he doesn't hardly play. Expected goals and assists.
God, could you imagine what we'd do in 90 minutes?
I know I'm stretching above the 3-1, and I don't know how far you can go up, but what are your views on that Pino of Crystal Palace? He's about 3.5, I think.
Yeah, must have got a rise, mustn't he? He got an early sub, which was surprising, but they've got so many games coming up.
But he's been hovering around the 3. He was hovering around the 3-2 mark for a long time. I think you're right. He's got a rise, but he's surely good value. He's in the Spanish national squad, although he doesn't get into the 11. And he's very talented. He's got a few assists for Palace, and he's going to be playing Conference League. So if you can stretch that a little bit higher and get him in, I think he's a good pick. He's nailed in that Palace team.
I know it's recency bias because he wasn't. I mean, I think people were asking about him like on the day before deadline, possibly, but he hadn't trained. Pedro Neto at 3.6. Now he was one of the names that Maresca said hadn't trained all since he'd come back, and he started and he got 17 points in that game. But he started so many matches. So at 3.6, I think I'd maybe prefer Pedro Neto. I mean, we keep the prices gradually going up, but I don't think that's a bad price.
He was in the 4.2, 4.3 area a few weeks ago, so he's been dropping. He's one of these players. He's probably the most nailed of the Chelsea wingers. I think he's the best of the Chelsea wingers. And he always looks good in the games, but he doesn't always return fantasy points, does he?
He stung you, didn't he? Was it last year, Ben? You had Neto for something? Is there a double game week, I feel like?
Yeah, I think I doubled up on Chelsea, didn't I, for an easy game week. And
they had some easy European fixtures, didn't they? So everyone tried to get the right one. Chris Stone asked on Achiapong, so we've mentioned them already. I think we've covered really boosters. I think we've talked max cap. We've all just blown our 12th man. I think we covered goal bonus on the last pod, so we'll skip out that one. Some quick fire last minute, like team related. DT Patrick taking Porro out after other transfers. Only have 4.1. Reece James or Anderson? We haven't mentioned Reece James. I'm not going to go against my boy Anderson, but Reece James?
Well, I've got a guy at work called Simon Banyard, who's a massive Chelsea fan, goes to all the games. So I asked him this question tonight. He plays fantasy football. And he said to me that Maresca has already said that they need to manage James' minutes. So James is not going to play regularly. They're going to be careful. So if you out of those two, Anderson's the more nailed, the more reliable. As you said, you're picking up bonus points from every week. I think James is a good pick if he was being played every game, but he's not. And I think he missed a few games over the season where he was being rotated. So I think the danger is they're going to manage his minutes because he's injury prone, isn't he? But he's great when he's on the pitch. I mean, he scored a goal, didn't he? Did he get an assist as well at the weekend?
Yeah.
certainly support him. Yeah, so he's. I think the thing is, it depends if you want to take the risk, but they have said that they're likely to manage his minutes moving forward. So that's the danger. Whereas Anderson, plays every game.
Mm.
So I'd go Anderson of those two.
I wouldn't even be taking Porro out, but because Udogi's injured, and I just think Porro's. How many times did Porro have your pants down last season, Scott? When you're taking him out, and he bangs in 5-point bonuses and stuff like that.
He hasn't been doing that so much this year.
Not this season,
has
no.
he? But the reason I took him out last year is because he had a spell where he wasn't doing it.
Yeah, but I do like Reece James. Last season, I went for Reece James for the conference final, and he got rested. This season, so it was between him and Enzo. Enzo smashed me up. I picked Enzo this season. He's hobbling off back from South America, and then Reece James smashes it in. But I love having Reece James in my team because he can just score points from free kicks and corners and all sorts. He is a class pick, but it's just getting him to play every game, which is very unlikely.
Oh, we might find ourselves in that scenario with Fiore soon. We don't quite know, do we?
Yeah. But out of them two, Reece James, Anderson, I think I would go for Reece James. Double game week next week.
What's wrong with Anderson? What are you saying?
Nothing's wrong, Anderson. just the higher ceiling for Reece James, I think. Anderson will tick along 5-7s, which is fine. But yeah, Reece James, double game week next week. And obviously Gusto is suspended for Sunderland.
Yeah, they might push him just for that one sort of.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's suspended, but he'll just end up playing the other game, though, won't he?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Maresca might discipline him for that, and just say you're not playing anymore for a bit.
Jay Baker, currently not sure who to take out. Playing a 4-4-2. I've got Lacroix, Conser, Enzo, Salah. They're the players he's thinking of taking out. That's half the team. Who would you take out, and who would be their replacements? 0.8. I would take out Conser because I'm taking him out. Depends on the Enzo injury, but maybe Salah. What do you reckon?
Well, I wrote down Conser and Salah because I'm taking out Salah. Conser's only got one fixture next week, and it's Man City. So I would look to bring in the players. I'll be looking at bringing in would be, he's got 0.8 in the bank. He can go up to Cucurella from Conser if he wants to, or he could go Chalobah, not use all the cash. If he hasn't got Saka, he can bring Saka in for Salah, or he could bring in Newcastle asset maybe next week with a double game week and bank some cash. I mean, it depends on how his team's set up, of course. But if Enzo's fit, I would keep Enzo because he's playing in that number 10 role at the moment. So, I'd like to get Enzo in my team if he comes back soon. I really would like him in my midfield. So the two for me, Scott, will be Conser and Salah, simply because what we've talked about Salah tonight. I just don't think he's producing it, and it's a massive chunk of money.
Ben, you can have Brad's one. Conser Doku to Calafiori and Cucurella, or Conser Doku to James and Cucurella. This is Brad's question.
Conser definitely out. Doku, I just think
you were saying this last week.
Yeah, I just think he's going to play this Swansea game, but if he's going down 0.3 and James is going up 0.3, it could be a good transfer in. Cucurella's probably more chance of playing more minutes, but yeah, I do like James. Price is good, 4 million. You can move it on easily if he's injured.
Bang the team in the team transfer suggestions in our Discord. If you did want to become a member of our Discord, patreon.com/Dream Team Tonic, or hit the join button on YouTube. We've done an hour and 35, so let's go on to some leagues. Graeme, we had a technical problem. We tried to put you in the league, but apparently you won't get added in until the next game week begins. So you were on, hang on, it's only a couple of points off me. Do you know what you were on? Was it 762?
1,350. No, I was on 762. Yeah, 762. So 762.
So in our guest league, 762. Oh, you'd be right behind me and just above Johnny Curry. So you'd be in that sixth position.
So it's not too bad. I'm in is that a Europa League spot place, is it?
Yeah, does it go six get Europa this year? Yeah, we'll let you have it. We'll let you have it.
I'll take that, Scott.
But yeah, you'll remain in here. We're hoping to build this up as we go, similar to the old Top Gear scenario. Let's read out some of our other mini leagues. So Tonic members only league top 3. We've got old Nobbles in 3rd, Silent Power in 2nd, and Wisby top of the shop. And I'm pretty sure it's Wisby's birthday today. So happy birthday, Wisby.
Happy birthday.
Unless he's having me on. Unless he's having us on and it's not his birthday. But happy birthday now.
He's a Spurs fan, though.
Take it back. Dream Team Sonic Cash League. 8 a lot in 3rd. We've got H Jones in 2nd and G Dully in 1st. And then the tag team leaderboard. We've got Oz and Ben Coles in 3rd, but G Dully and I think Simon Williams in 2nd, and G Precious and is it Andy Allott?
Not sure.
I think it might be 8 Allott. Sorry if you're not an Andy. 8 Allott in 1st. G Precious and 8 Allott. There's a lot of boosters now flying around in this tag team league. It was a little bit quiet on the booster front to start off with, but it looks like we can't obviously see when they were played, but a lot of 12th man's popped up there now, isn't there? I think that'll be a lot from this week.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well played, guys. And Nathan is in the chat. He says, thank you. It is his birthday. What a way to spend your birthday. Right. That is it, guys. Great to have you on again, Graeme. It's been
a real privilege. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, fantastic. I just want to once again say I really love the work that you do and Ben does and Tony does. It's fantastic pod, and it keeps me entertained when I come in from work late at night. So I really feel honoured to be on again. So yeah, I really enjoyed it tonight, and all the best to you for the awards. I think it's fantastic. You've been nominated, and I think you're both and Tony excellent what you're doing. I've really enjoyed it tonight. It's been a great hour and a half. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you, Graeme.
And have a good time tomorrow at the Champions League game.
I just hope we get the win, So, and I hope Gokkery scores tomorrow.
Yes, come on. You'll have to send if he scores. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Right, we'll wrap it up there. Cheers, guys. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.